supervised time. But you can add 10 or 12 things to the plan. But for the most part, this is the plan that you need to have. Then you need to get a weightlifting plan. That's pretty simple. You can go online and get something for free. Your high school football coach has a weightlifting plan. So you need to wrestle 2-3 days a week. Drill this plan. Just hit 10 reps. You don't have to hit 100 reps. The building part is the hard part. If your mom or dad loses 100 pounds, 50 pounds, that's hard. Maintaining it is easy. You to get really strong is hard. It can take 6 months to a year and a half. Once you're really strong and you can bench press 200 pounds and you can deadlift 325, it takes very little to maintain that. You guys have already built. You're almost done building yourself. You're going to be able to master this plan. By the last day of the camp, you're going to be blown away by how good you are. Your confidence is going to soar. But you don't want it to fall apart. So if you could run a marathon and then you quit running for 3 months, now you have to start over and build again. If you don't drill this plan, you have to start over and build again. If you quit lifting weights after you can deadlift 325, now you have to start over and build again. Now it's easier to build because you have a foundation. You don't have to start from scratch, but so many people stop and restart. They're just constantly restarting. And I tell my academy parents, I'm like, if you can just get your son or daughter to practice, because we have 2.5-hour practices. If you can train with us once a week, year-round, because our practices are 2.5 hours, your wrestler will get 640 matches worth of live and 55 hours of drill time. Just once a week. Just inconvenience yourself once a week. Because some people would say, practicing once a week is just not even, it's a waste of my time. Over the course of a year, it's 640 matches. Is that a waste of your time?
No.
Is 55 hours of drill time on that plan a waste of your time?
No.
55 hours is a lot. It's once a week. Do you realize how easy this is? And just think if you went 2 days a week or maybe 3. Then maybe you're like, no, I love football. I wrestle, but I love football. Good, play football. But 1 day a week, get on the mat. Then maybe you quit baseball because you want to dump more time into wrestling. So during wrestling season, you're going, 3, 4, 5 times a week, depending upon your age. Now that you quit baseball, now you're going 2-3 days a week during baseball season. And literally you're getting 2,500 matches worth of live, 200 hours of drill time, and hours of weightlifting, and you just map it out over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and you can't not be a great wrestler. You're just going to be, So I would encourage you to understand how easy this is. And in that other room, there's a phrase that says, do one thing every day for your wrestling. When I was a kid, Marlon Kaikin, he was a junior national coach from the Soviet Union. He was a certified coach. That's like high school, and I think in there it was even up to 19 years old. He was a certified coach in the Soviet Union, and he defected to the United States because his family was Jewish, and he defected here, and somehow he got a job at Lindenwood and was coaching freestyle. And me and my brother went to join this freestyle club. We were like 13. And me and my brother were very hard workers, and he liked us. So he says, I'm going to quit this, and I'm going to coach you guys. And he coached us privately for about 7 months. Then he moved to New York City. So that was a pretty good experience, even though he didn't speak very much English. And there's a lesson there too, right? We attracted a very high quality guy. We attracted him to us. I didn't ask him to coach me privately. We attracted him. And that's the reason, we'll talk about that in a second. But what he says, there's a graphic in there on that wall. It says, do one thing every day for your wrestling. That was a big theme with him. The former Soviet Union coach. And I think he also coached Ivan Medved too. One of the, like a 15-time world champion. So he was like legit Soviet Union coach. That's the reason that graphic hangs up in there. And I think about that probably every day. Do one thing every day. I do one thing every day for our wrestling camp operation. There is not a day I don't do something, okay? And I would encourage you to say, I'm going to listen for 2 to 3 hours a week or read books on the sports psychology side of wrestling. That can include interviews or TED Talks and things, right? It can be a book that you read, or if you like to listen, get books that you want to listen to. And it's like marinating a steak. You're just marinating your brain. Pretty soon your thoughts start to change. You don't realize it. Just like your conditioning changes, your confidence changes, your technique changes, doesn't it? Your thoughts start to change. You're like, whoa, wait. I like this new me. And it's just like watering a plant. So you don't need to, a lot of us ignore our weaknesses, and then we try to wrestle 7 days a week, and your parents double bracket you every Saturday and Sunday, and I'm like, that, then you'll take 8 months off. That's not a good approach. Those kids are never going to make it. To do 1 day a week year round, 2 or 3 days a week, if you can figure it out, maybe at least 1 day a week when it's football season or whatever your second favorite sport is, right? It adds up. So understand, do one thing every day for your wrestling, even if it's just looking at it, just listening to one interview that John Smith gives or David Taylor gives. So wrestle 2 to 3 days a week, at least one, and drill that plan, hit 10 reps of everything, and then live wrestle. Spend 2 to 3 hours a week listening to the peak performance, human performance stuff, sports psychology kind of stuff, and lift weights 2 to 3 days a week. And what if you do all those on the same day? Let's say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I wrestle and I lift. Now I get 4 days a week off. 4 days a week to do nothing and be a kid. So you get a lot of your life back. You don't have to spread it out. Now do one thing every day, even if it's just reading your goals. Did you do something for your wrestling? Yes. And I always say this, if it's at the end of the day and you're like, oh, I didn't do one thing today for my wrestling goals, jump down and do one push-up. Is that one push-up going to really do a whole lot? No. Did you fulfill your commitment? Yeah. So you're still changing yourself as a human, okay? So that's number one. How do I get good at wrestling? 2 to 3 days a week of wrestling, 2 to 3 days a week of lifting. And lifting is like 40 minutes. We don't have to lift for 5 hours. And 2 to 3 hours a week, just listening, reading books, okay? And you can just Google search a book, you know? I've got a few here that I have. Famous guy gave me a couple books to read, okay? I'll give them to you right now. So you can write them down if you guys have a notebook or type it in. I was just listening to one this morning. So,